Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll start in just a couple of minutes. Yeah. Hey guys. Yeah, so today we will have an EMA with Vela Exchange. The co-founders of Vela will join us, Dan and Berke. They're joining just in a second, so just a couple of seconds and we'll start.
What's up, guys?
Hey Dan, what's up?
What's going on? I see Burke in the audience, but I don't know if he's requested.
Give me a second, we'll add him. What's his nickname?
Uncle B, I think. Uncle B Vela.
I don't see him. He needs to request.
Let me ping him real quick. 1 second.
Yeah, sure. Back if you hear us, just request to speak. We will add you.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, super guys. Very excited to have you here. Today we'll be speaking about the official launch of Vela, how you guys started, etc. I have prepared a couple of interesting questions. We are very excited about our upcoming partnership. Yeah. So just to start, I would just ask you to shortly introduce yourself, how you guys started in crypto, what you guys have done before the Vela, etc. Please.
Yeah, sure. I'm Dan. I'm one of the co-founders and core contributors over at Vela. Work a lot on the product marketing and leadership side. A lot of my background comes from similar avenues. Spent a lot of time in management consulting and tech consulting throughout my years, about a decade. And got into crypto around 2017, 2018. Ended up running into Travis, my co-founder, at a management consulting firm named BCG. Worked together and built different apps together in the Web 2 world. And we realized we worked together so well, it was like, why not start building on Web 3? And so we started contributing to a variety of different projects, starting our own project called Dex Pools before pivoting to Vela in early 2022. And we've been building and kicking ass since then. So that's just my quick intro.
Awesome, I'll go. Hi, everyone. My name is Burke, or you can call me Uncle B. And I lead the strategic partnership initiatives at Vela. When I started in crypto, I believe it was late 2017, I did my first crypto transaction on a Bitcoin ATM at a Vietnamese restaurant, I remember. And of course, a few months later, everything crashed. But luckily, I was already orange-pilled, I guess, by then. And my sadness pushed me to learn more and dedicate my further education in the space. So spent a few years in the academic side and eventually left my TradFi career and jumped in full-time in 2021. Back then worked in some notable projects in the DeFi and the NFT space, and then eventually joined the Vela team.
Awesome. So you both met guys in Web 2, and then you both became Web 3 co-founders.
Yeah, well, so Travis, who's not here, is one of the co-founders and our CTO. Burke leads strategic initiatives. We actually met together in like an NFT Discord or something. I forgot how we met, but it was a discussion deep into the mechanics of Ethereum validation or something silly, which totally doesn't make sense being an NFT Discord, but we kind of recognized each other through those avenues, and then we realized how deep of a background both of us had in our relative expertises and started collaborating. Uncle B was actually, I don't know if we should share too much about this, but you were working with Rome Blockchain Labs, which is a development company that works in a variety of different Web3 projects. And we ended up partnering with them, and then eventually realized that Uncle B's background kind of fit and culture fit was leaning more towards us, and he ended up joining us.
Awesome. Just a follow-up question: what was the biggest win and loss in crypto so far, or just something embarrassing you remember?
Is this like an investment type of question, or?
Yeah. I mean in crypto. Yeah, maybe it was some kind of an NFT. I don't know. Maybe it was a shitcoin. Yeah, just whatever.
Are these realized or unrealized?
Very important. Definitely NFT though.
Definitely NFTs.
For me, yeah.
I think one of my biggest wins was Ethereum Classic. Really random, but I just had a gut feeling, zero analysis. It was just oh, this seems like it's gonna do decent, and it just happened to do it. Man, there's so many losses I can't even begin to start categorizing, to be honest. NFTs definitely big losses there. Let's see. I mean, I'm really pulling for Yuga Labs. I know there's a lot of negativity around them recently, but I think they have their shit together, and we'll see kind of where they go with their ambitions across gaming and utilities. So yeah. What about you, man?
About me, man. I see that you're a fan of Yuga Labs, where your profile picture, Mutant Ape. Awesome. About me, yeah, I would also say NFTs. Yeah, I lost a lot of money there. I was kind of involved on NFTs. Yeah, I know. It sounds strange. Yeah, like, but still,
I feel your pain, man. I don't even want to
yeah,
think about Solana NFTs. It was like, I think 95% of projects there were rugs.
yeah. I mean, NFTs were like a kind of a backbone of Solana, I would say, because it was just the only thing which Solana was used for. And right now, all the shit with FTX dumping Solana, it's kind of hard, I don't know, to create or just to keep project alive. NFT project, yeah,
Yeah.
but it is what it is.
Yeah, I remember there was a time like maybe it was like Solana summer, whatever you want to call it, where like so
Yeah.
many people were passionate about the gaming side, and I was passionate too. I'm like a gamer, so I'm like trying
Uh-huh.
to contribute like game theory and like mechanics and and I'm doing all this stuff, and then it turns out to be a rug, and I'm not asking for anything in return. I'm like focusing on Vela, but I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And then like the founders disappear. I'm like, guys, like, did we just do this for nothing?
Yeah, I mean, game theory is kind of complicated in Solana community. Uncle B, what about you? Have you had some experience with Solana?
Solana. Oh yeah. Well, just the Discord chat that Dan was just mentioning where we met. I was actually comparing Ethereum and Solana. I've never been a big fan of Solana, to be honest. So
Uh-huh. Okay,
yeah,
okay, I got you.
never been exposed to it. Never got the wins, never got the losses of it.
I think it's much better than have those huge losses. Okay, guys, moving on. I will just start talking about Vela Exchange as we're all excited about the official launch on 26th June. A huge congrats on that. Just wanted to ask how did this idea about Vela Exchange came to your mind? Like which downsides have you seen on other exchanges like maybe GMX, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we started building Vela, one of the reasons we were so passionate about creating kind of a trading home for not only perps traders, but just traders in general in the decentralized space was because you kind of had to pick between either like a centralized exchange where like perps, derivative products, spot trading, everything was like super nice and easy to use. Or you could go to the decentralized world and choose between like AMMs for spot trades, or there's some limit order products coming out at that time when we started Vela, order book based space dexes, like GMX like protocols, and GMX was synthetics, but very, very early. And it was like nothing that kind of combined a lot of those principles of like ease of use, powerful derivative trading or perp trading, and just that experience you have going from like TradFi apps to DeFi, right? And so we're like, man, there has to be a better way to do things. Infrastructure was still kind of early back then, but now it's developed so much that you have like tens of L2s with lightning fast speed and like validation speed and performance and everything like that. So you can actually run a perp dex with efficiency. So our thought was let's build a perp dex that takes a lot of the strengths of CEXs and builds on top of some of the principles that were already built by our predecessors like GMX, GNS, etc., and allow, of course, self custody. And it's evolved a lot since beta. Even beta, we launched a product that got a lot of traction, and I think people were excited to see just the experience. And I think one of our ambassadors described the experience as like driving a spaceship versus like a lot of other dexes where it was kind of like driving just a regular car. We've built on that a lot and just try to make it feel as smooth and futuristic as possible. Like, what would traders want in their ideal kind of world, right? Yeah, so that's kind of like the background behind Vela, and I'm just super excited about the launch that's coming up in about a week now. Today we're gonna drop the schedule, so how early access works, what the dates are for early access and launch, and any other important dates that are associated with the next 1 to 2 weeks.
Awesome, man. Uncle B, do you have anything to add?
No, I believe Dan summarized perfectly.
Uh-huh. So basically, the idea was that Dex Space was like in this kind of Slacks experience where you can just use perps, while in the options, etc. Yeah, and you just wanted to implement it and build above, on top of the GMX, maybe, and also in other asset classes like I don't know. I've seen it's possible to trade even some kind of metals, like gold, etc. Or on Vela. Yeah.
Yeah, like the assets themselves are not the restriction, right? And they're not the biggest part of the innovation in
Sure.
any kind of synthetics based perps platform, because you can just derive whatever assets based on your price feed, and as long as your price feed's good, you can launch that product. It's not like an order book based X, right? Like DYDX, you would have to fill that order book with actual assets, and if you're doing something like commodities, you have to do some kind of like mirrored asset. And all of that stuff is a lot more complicated. I think the beauty of synthetics is it allows you to, number one, bootstrap liquidity super quick. Number two, bring on assets and kind of mirror assets without actually having to have the asset, right? That being said, I think the real challenge was kind of thinking about what CEXs do well and what keeps people on CEXs, specifically starting with derivatives and perps products, and then thinking about what kind of foundation was already built in the DEX space and not having to rework everything, right? Like great builders across history build on tops of the shoulders of giants, and that's what we're looking to do, right? I think GMX did a really good job building a economy that wrapped around a synthetics-based perps protocol, and we wanted to take it to the next level by introducing the quality of life that CEX users have to try to encourage that group of users to come on board into the DEX space. Not only to Vela, but eventually into just all DeFi, right?
This is Dave, head of marketing at
I think that if you look at the volume of
catch-up company about to
perpetual
use
and derivative traders in DeFi in general, like it's a huge portion in CEXs compared to DEXs. It may change over time, and we're trying to accelerate that. But I think it's just going to be better for anybody that believes in decentralization and self-custody if dApps can work together to build better experiences that attract these users. So that's just kind of like step one of our journey towards a bigger picture.
Absolutely agree. Then there is a big chunk of this options trading volume, and if you could bring this SEX experience with self custody and decentralized Vela Exchange as an example, and also bringing all those kinds of assets because they're synthetic, so basically you can bring anything you want actually. So yeah, I think you have a very bright future with those ideas, as DEX market will just grow and grow.
Yeah, appreciate it. And I saw a question too, just from the chat from Skylar, and he was asking about, I believe, regulatory stuff and how we think about probably decentralization as part of that question. We're actually in a very interesting point. So obviously, 100% of our focus right now is on launch, but strategically, one of the questions we're asking ourselves is, number one, like, how much do we want to decentralize governance? Number two, how much do we want to like work with regulators and be licensed? And so there's a lot of important questions within those decisions that we're kind of going through with the legal team and with our internal team and trying to match up the best we can against our vision of being one of the first kind of DEXs to, first of all, be official and be like within the rules and regulations of whatever governing bodies that we're operating within. But number two, also allowing that self-custody like experience. So there's a lot to unpack there. But we will be doing that slowly over the next couple of months. And I do expect some pretty big news to be released related to those items that I mentioned.
What was your experience so far? Are those boundaries, like for the exchanges, are clear? Do you know how should you comply under those different jurisdictions?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually becoming better. I think if you were to ask me that question 6 months ago, I would have said it's pretty hard to understand. I don't think the US has changed, and we're still banning US jurisdictions in a variety of other restricted regions. But we are seeing some significant progress in Asian and European entities. And I think there's a lot of potential there as, areas that we want to operate in continue to be a little bit more clear about how to get from point 0, which I think a lot of people are at in the DEX space, to at least like 0.5 or 1, right? Before becoming fully regulated. So I do think it's a matter of like when for most of these regions to apply regulatory frameworks, but we'll just have to see as the rest of the year kind of continues.
Just a small follow-up question: do you want to be legalized? Just how does it work? Should you be legalized overall the world, or just choose some kind of jurisdiction, maybe European law, or as you mentioned, like you just need to be legalized in US and then you can just proceed, or how does it work?
Yeah, I think what we've been reviewing so far indicates that the best strategy, and this is for a lot of like DEX builders out there, is probably to start in one region, because for each licensing body, there's an entire process, right? And a lot of us are smaller teams that don't have infinite funding. So you'll want to pick a region where it's pretty clear that that jurisdiction will be friendly towards you and have like a framework that matches what you do as a project. And number two, the costs and time involved with it is not ridiculous to actually get within the boundaries of their framework, right? So we're still very early in that process. We are going to do our best to figure out the best path. And like we said, we're balancing a lot of things, right? So how much do you decentralize? How much do you go with regulators and their frameworks? And how does that apply to our project? So there's going to be a lot more on that. Like I said, like most of our focus is dedicated towards launch And then, of course, in the background, we're working on a lot of these like infrastructure related and stability related questions.
Awesome, then. Awesome. Would be awesome to hear some experience from you in a couple of months. Yeah, but sure, right now, whole focus on the launch. Okay, the next question, guys. What would you say are your main differences between other DEXs like GMX or Gains Network, etc.? Like, what are the pain points you're trying to solve, which no one else does?
Yeah, I'll answer some of it and let Burke jump in as well, since he's worked a lot on the
Sure.
product side in the last couple of months. But if you compare different trading products, like even if it wasn't in DeFi, right? Like let's just say not even GNS and GMX, but you go on to trading on in the Web2 world with Fidelity versus like Robinhood.
Yeah.
They're all kind of like commodities, right? Like they're products where the differentiators may be very small based on like fees or utility. Or the biggest change that you'll see as a consumer, a retail customer, not like institutional, right, is just the user experience. Like, let's give an example with Robinhood. Their traction behind the scenes was built through a lot of partnerships with institutions. But when users were able to download the app and try it, it just felt like a modern application where you could understand what was going on and everything was digestible as a retail customer. For us, our goal was to do the same thing. Like, once you get on, whether you're a veteran trader that wants to do things like set a trillion kind of triggers versus your orders and like manage your portfolio to a T and automate things, or you're just like a beginner trader that just wants to create a basic long position on an asset and kind of manually control things, you can do that. And you can track everything. You can put notes against your trades and you can save your settings. You can get alerts and notifications like a CX. It's just that experience, and you'll feel it once you get in the app. It's just like, it feels nice. I think that's probably the biggest differentiator from day one from like a high level, but there's a ton of small differences across the application that kind of build into something bigger, from trading fees all the way to assets to chart mechanics and things like that. And Burke, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but I think those things will be best spoken when users are able to actually connect their wallets.
Absolutely. So when it comes to things that sets Vela apart, I guess you can approach it in two different ways, right? First is like the experience and the application itself, and then the rest is the more technical stuff, like the incentive structures are being different, how we utilize the synthetic architecture to, for example, making our liquidity pool market neutral, or the way that deposits work and stuff like that is one part. And then the other side, is Dan summarized perfectly, is the features and basically focusing on creating an application that is catered to not only just professional traders, allowing all these tools for the professional traders, but it is also super friendly to a brand new trader and allowing them to learn step by step how to become a much more professional trader in the future.
Awesome. So also this feature I found in the docs is called one-click trading. So basically you can just deposit, just I don't know, sign a transaction, and then you can just have this 6 experience. Is it also a part of this strategy you mentioned then?
Sorry, can you repeat that last part?
Yeah, sure. I went through the docs and I've seen that you implemented this feature called one-click trading. So basically, as far as I understand, you can just sign the transaction and then whichever trade you do, you don't like you have this experience. Is this also part of this strategy you mentioned?
Yeah, that's part of launch as well. So you actually have a choice to just use a standard wallet or utilize the one-click wallet that is created per connected wallet. So once you activate that and fund it with gas and also collateral, you can start trading without any kind of MetaMask, for example, confirmations. It is owned by, in the background, like a shared entity. So if you want to see like your trades and your leaderboard stuff, all that is together. So you don't have to like track 2 wallets. There's a lot of cool things kind of attached to that when you can control both wallets in terms of social trading aspects, where you compare like different accounts that you like. There's a lot of other stuff kind of related to trading competitions. But at the core, the ability is to quickly be able to move through the application like a CEX. And one-click trading is just one more step towards that, right?
Okay, I got you. Also, as you mentioned, this Robinhood app, have you developed also a web application for mobile? Is it somehow a critical point for you? So are you focusing yourself on this so people could just use Vela with a phone?
Yeah, so you can use Vela with a phone. It is pretty web and mobile optimized.
Awesome.
However, a native application is something that would be later in our timeline. It's just a lot of work to get something ready, and the process to go through the app store is pretty arduous as well. So It is something in our ambitions, but not for launch.
Awesome then, awesome. Because I personally, I always use any DEXs, etc., just with my PC, to be honest. But if you could bring this kind of experience as Robinhood does, maybe as just for a launch with just a just a good optimized web page and then an app, yeah, it would be just awesome.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we optimize for mobile so much. And just props to our community for helping us test in the last few weeks and get a lot of the mobile stuff done. Is even though like I'm like you, Finish, I trade a lot on like my desktop. I don't really do it on mobile. I guess maybe we're boomers, or maybe it's just easier to control your trades on a bigger screen, right? Like I hate clicking on like small little icons to figure out really sophisticated details. But when we interviewed traders, like a lot of traders do their initial execution on the desktop, and then they want to have that power and that flexibility to like be at a restaurant and like look at a trade and be like, oh crap, I need to do this real quick. And not necessarily do the most sophisticated things like set up like a very complicated like chart analysis or notes to themselves and things like that, but they want to be able to at least execute and view trades easily. So we concentrate a lot on like account/trade management and capabilities on the phone. It's only going to get better, like I mentioned. Once we get closer to a native app, I think the mobile version is going to continue kind of like updating and becoming more powerful. But we wanted to make sure it was supported out the gates.
Awesome, then. Absolutely agree. Just want to add that we're not the boomers. We just sit, like I personally sit maybe 12 hours a day in front of my screen. So it is how it is. I don't really use a phone to trade because I'm just the whole day in crypto. Okay, following the next.
You're stuck to your seat all day.
I do. No, actually I have a standing desk. So just maybe half of the day I stand, half of the day I sit. But the main point is just in front of my monitor. The next one. As we all know, there are those common decentralized issues like front running, slippage, and different asset limitations. With asset limitations, we already discussed it with using those synthetic assets. It's not a problem more. But what about front running and slippage? Thank you.
Yeah. Burke, do you want to jump in on some of the background behind our trading revamps?
I'm so sorry, guys. I just got a call and I couldn't hear the question. Could you just repeat the question real quick?
Yeah, no problem. I can repeat, sure. Yeah. So basically, there are those common decentralized exchange issues. As an example, front running, slippage, and asset limitations. Asset limitations is not a problem anymore because you're using these synthetics assets. But what about front running and slippage?
Yeah, I can go over them. So the front running is, I guess, it's that ghost that all the perpetual exchanges are like scared of. This time with the official launch, we're using much better price feed source. I don't know if you guys have seen, but based on our partnership we announced with Pith, so much faster, much more efficient price feeds, as well as we onboarded a completely new method of triggers to eliminate front running once and for all. So that's on the front running case. In terms of the asset limitations, just like you said, we're a synthetic based perps exchange. We don't necessarily have limitation on listing assets. If there's a price feed or we can create one, we can technically list it. However, we do have a heavy due diligence process when we're selecting assets, which is very important when it comes to the risk angle. I think the other one was slippage, right? Again, we're a perps exchange, nothing like no real token is being traded underneath, other than in our case USDC.E. But the slippage doesn't necessarily exist either. But we onboarded some sort of an artificial slippage for our official launch platform to create a healthier risk environment. It exists to ensure the balance of open interest at all times.
And to prevent front running, right?
Correct.
Like if someone's reading a price feed and trying to like execute on orders and kind of read the future, like we saw in a lot of different DEXs on the perp side, it gets a lot harder once you add a mechanic around slippage.
Correct.
So basically using this AI tool to prevent slippage. It's insane, guys. Okay.
Yeah, I would say less AI.
Yeah, I wouldn't say AI.
Just a leprechaun we hired a president.
I mean, we all love AI works. They work everywhere. Okay, awesome. Thanks a lot for the answer, Uncle B. The next one. As well, you mentioned this one-click trading feature that I really like. Do you have any other upcoming features which would make the experience better or much similar to Robinhood one?
I don't know about the Robinhood. If you don't mind, then I'll just jump on it and you can continue.
Yeah.
But besides the one-click trading, and I guess we do have the on-chart trading, We do have a lot of customizability options for the users now to allow to make sure that they create their very own terminal. We just want traders to be able to come in, feel like this is their home now. They can change specific things. They can change where the specific panels are and stuff like that to customize it the way they like. On top of this, we created tools, additional tools, like such as saving and loading technical analysis. So now a Vela user doesn't need to go to another tab and do their TA and then save it somewhere. They can basically create all of the TA, use all the more advanced indicators on Vela, and they can save it and for later, and then they can just load the same technical analysis once again in the future. This will allow users to stay and do basically from end-to-end execution literally on Vela without having to go to another tab. We are also adding some advanced analytics and social features, which Dan kind of mentioned and hinted, to allow users to observe others' activities and compare their performances one another. What the social features that you will see on the official launch will be just the beginning of the social aspect of Vela. There are many cool things and many great ideas we've been working on, and we listen to our community. Of course, there's great ideas coming from that angle too. So that's just the beginning. I just wanted to let you guys know about that one. With the features that are coming out on the official launch, one last thing I want to say is that I truly believe all of these features are phenomenal. But the part I am, I guess, most excited about is how all of these features blend in together, like almost like a harmony. The true potential of each of these that we're talking about, like one-click trading or on-chart trading, come alive when you combine them all together. So one-click trading is awesome, on-chart trading is awesome, saving technical analysis is awesome. When you combine them all together and use all three of them together, then you have a completely different experience, and it's phenomenal. So I'm just very, very excited. I'm very excited to see how users find new ways to make their trading experience just more fun, engaging, more efficient, maybe in ways that we didn't even think of yet.
Awesome, Uncle B. Maybe could you share any alpha on the upcoming features which will not be launched yet, but you're planning to launch on soon? Just a little bit, maybe, if you could so.
I always say more than I should, so I'm just gonna let Dan take this one.
Okay, then. You have
I'm gonna drop that hot potato. There's so much for official launch. Like I think part of the plan is during launch we're gonna announce some of the next features and kind of challenges for our team to undertake. But I don't want to spoil people too much right now.
Okay, then I got you. Yeah, you're right, guys. You're having so much features at the launch. Yeah, I think for now it's enough. Okay, coming to the next question, guys. Give me a sec. Yeah, as we all know, the community of each project and especially of DEX is super important, and you built an amazing one, guys. I really see the amount of listeners we have right now, as the engagements on your posts, the excitement of people to the 26th June official launch. So my question would be, do you have any ongoing or upcoming community-focused incentivizers for the Vela users? Maybe some, I don't know, better fees, etc., Vela rewards, and something like that.
Oh man, where should we start?
Wherever you want, man.
We have I guess for the community, just like you said, like the incentives are a very critical part of any success or like failure story in this space, right? So because of this, since the early days, we've been always putting tons of effort to ensure incentives are always aligned perfectly with our operations as well as the community sentiment. There are many incentive programs within our economic architecture, I guess. So for the bigger picture, for the listeners, you can always visit our Gitbook and learn more about our token economy, but I'll just stick to the official launch related ones. One will be the Hyper VLP. This is, we've done this before during the beta. It's basically a liquidity bootstrapping event, inviting liquidity providers to bring their liquidity that will just back the exchange activity down the road. For being early, they will be rewarded within this program. It'll start a few days, I guess. I'll leave this part for the later announcement today, but I almost dropped another potato, Dan. Yeah. But it will basically last less than 2 weeks, And during this time, the users are basically incentivized to bring their liquidity as quickly as possible, since there are multiple reward tiers, and it's based on first come, first serve. So basically, if earlier you come in, the better reward tier you secure. We also provide heavy rewards for the first week or two for the VLP and hyper VLP stakers. And I guess on top of that all, we have no VLP minting fees until the hyper VLP mint is over. So these are all the incentives to encourage and reward early liquidity.
Honestly, I had a separate question on hyper VLP program, but if you have already started talking about it, could you just say something about the success of the hyper VLP 1.0, excuse me, and as far as I understand, in 2.0, it will, like, it's anticipated so fast already that it will be just first come first serve, as there are a lot of people who want to provide the liquidity.
Yeah, there's a lot of hyper VLP. I guess you called it 1.0. We kind of called it 1.0. The legacy hyper VLP was a very big success. It allowed us to onboard a lot of liquidity very early on, and that transitioned into being able to allow traders to have much larger OIs and many other assets and stuff like that. Same thing goes for our official launch, but the hyper VLP 2.0, the rules are the same. You bring your liquidity.
Okay.
Or earlier you are, the better reward tier you fall into. However, of course, the numbers and the rewards are a little bit different, but it's a much larger program, and it's almost like an extension to the previous Hyper VLP. So the legacy Hyper VLP will also continue after the official launch. So all of that liquidity will also be moving back in. So you will be basically collecting amazing rewards during the next 12 months as long as you keep your liquidity in. Whether staked or not, or however you want to use your VLP, but just VLP needs to remain with you throughout the next 12 months, and there will be monthly rewards going forward.
Uncle B, are you planning to participate yourself in the VLP 2.0?
Oh, damn, that's a very good question. If I get if Dan gives me early access, I'd like to.
Yeah,
Would you?
There's a thin line between allowing core contributors to get these kind of rewards, but yeah.
We want to make sure that in every incentive structure, we want to make sure that we incentivize the community. Us as a team, we have our own incentivized structure to build this protocol, right? And we just want to make sure that the rewards are distributed properly to create a much healthier ecosystem in the future.
Awesome, guys. My next question would be, right now at your launch, your Adjusted Perpetual, like perps exchange. Do you have any plans on maybe launching options or any other kind of trading instruments in the future?
Yeah, so I guess this is a potato that I won't drop. You know, part of the experience and part of the vision is to have like a Binance for the DEXs, right? And with a Binance, of course, you can, buy and sell assets, and you can do things outside of just synthetics. And so we're heavily looking at that angle, and we have not, there's some decisions to make whether we partner on that front, whether we build our own protocol, whether we do other stuff. So that's still in the works, but we are definitely going to pursue making Vela even more of a home for all your trading activities. So that's just top of mind. But perp DEX kind of dominance and competition is not a joke, right? It's still going to be very difficult. So we want to do our best here first, build the best perp DEX, and then kind of build on top of that.
Okay, I got you. So for the start, just to become the best perps exchange, and then we can see maybe other options coming. Awesome then. Okay, the next one, guys. Maybe okay, yeah. I don't want you to drop any more potatoes.
Yeah, and I mean, there's tons of community questions coming in as well. I'm happy to answer questions if someone raises their hand or go through the questions inside just the chat. So any path you'd like to take, I'm open to.
I also would like to finish. I think it would be very, very good for you to maybe explain what's this Vaultka's VLP leveraged vault is all about.
Yeah, sure. So basically what we're trying to achieve at Vaultka, we're very bullish on the upcoming different trading DEXs as the people are moving from sexes like, I don't know, Binance or Coinbase to JMX, Gains protocol, also Vela Exchange. And obviously, a lot of them are providing liquidity because that's just how the system works. And what we're trying to provide at Vaultka, we're creating these different vaults. As an example, for now, start we have just two strategies. First one is delta neutral strategy. So basically what we do, if you know how, I'm sure you know how GLP works. Yeah. Yeah. And basically GLP,
what's GLP?
yeah, so but that's just a couple of words. Yeah, GLP is just a basket of tokens for GMX, and so basically, when you provide liquidity for this basket of tokens, and it could be maybe a good hedge opportunity for those who are bullish. But also, as you provide this liquidity, GLP can just drop in price because the basket of assets, which includes also BTC and ETH, can go down. And basically, what we're providing at Vaultka is delta neutral strategy. So basically what we do is we take this APR from the GLP, which is right now maybe 12%, etc. What we do is we short the ETH and BTC, which are like all the risky assets which are in the basket. And that's how we are able to provide, maybe depends, as I say, at GLP APR, but we are able to provide about 6 or 7% API on stablecoins, which is about maybe twice higher at compared to Aave or Balancer or other protocols. The other one, I think it's what we will be using also for VLP token, is a leverage strategy. So basically, it's just very simple because against and Vela, you don't have this kind of a baskets, like all the liquidity is provided in just USDCs because, as you mentioned, you use those synthetic assets and you don't need the assets as themselves. So basically, we just borrow money as we have those borrowing pools. And we just deposit 3 times more with 1.5 health ratio. And that's how we can get about 17% APY on the stable coins. And it's actually very safe and healthy because we are just providing liquidity in USDCs. Yeah. And I believe we will do the same for us for the VLP token. Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you
I
guys
was
say?
gonna say it's gonna be very, very exciting because the risk structure of VLP is very, very different. Just like you said, due to its market neutral nature of it, the VLP is very different, and the majority of the rewards do go into and accumulate within the value of the VLP, right? So I'm very excited to see what kind of a demand is there for leverage minting VLP.
Yeah. We were very excited too, yes, because as more exchanges are launching, the more products we could offer. Sure. Dan, you have anything to say?
No, I think you guys covered the majority of it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just your overall experience about those vaults we're offering, or maybe you have just any ideas how we could do it better, etc.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think these vault products all provide different paths for a trader to de-risk and diversify, right? And even dig deeper into their degenerate wants and needs. We have several teams building different products. I'm very, very interested in seeing after launch, like what type of traders use what type of products. I have not used a GLP based product before. So this is something where I'll have to wait and see to give my own personal kind of experience. But just seeing the types of innovation, the different types of vault based products come out specifically for VLP and even Vela has me interested in seeing what happens in the next week to 2 weeks.
Exactly, Dan. Yeah, we are doing our best. Guys, I would be happy to choose just a question from the comments. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Do you want to choose it yourself, or do we just want to ask someone? I see here there's a couple of guys who want to ask a question. Yeah.
Yeah, I can pick one. Let me
Yeah, please. Yeah.
There are a lot of good questions. So Zeus or Decody33 asks what risk management features are available to traders. So one thing we've introduced that helps traders as soon as they set up their trade is the idea of a liquidation risk meter. So it's actually just a number from 0 to 100 that lets you know how close you are to liquidation. A lot of the details around how that number is calculated will be in our docs. So that'll help you from like a quick glance understand like how my trade is doing, right? We also have all these triggered trades and triggered orders available to a trader that can help them manage risk based on market performance, right? So any mix of stop losses or trade take profits, and essentially what you can set up is like 10 of those in a row, right? So if you want to take profits at a 10% take profit and then take more at 25%, you can set that kind of take profit order along with the stop losses on any kind of combination of your current positions. You can also set those up in different forms, right? So we have like stop limits, we have stop markets, we have all sorts of things that are set up just to help you kind of create and close trades. So I think that from like a base level, and then we have the email/SMS notifications that can help notify you when trades are being created, closed, etc. We're going to be
Awesome.
building on top of that infrastructure. Like right now, it's kind of phase 1.5, while as beta was phase 1. What we hope to do by like phase 2 for infrastructure to support messaging is to let you know, like with granular control, when those notifications go out. Is it at 10% liquidation risk? Is it at a price that's hit? Is it at whatever happens before the action actually happens, right? However, that requires a lot of extra kind of due diligence on our side just to set up like the right control center for you to manage those notifications. So those are just some high level things. But if you go in, you'll be able to see a ton of these features plus more that can help you kind of manage your own risk.
Yeah, then in my opinion, this feature with different types of notifications, as you mentioned, SMS and just email, it's awesome. As you mentioned, it's just this sex experience you wanted to provide. I love it, man.
Exactly.
Let me choose one speaker, maybe. What do you say? Let's do it. Okay, Iconic, I see you. Iconic, I added you, man. Iconic, just a second. Okay, maybe not Iconic, maybe Mata.